You see, they did all this stuff back when we lived in McKeesport and lived right next door to Icky. We were at 1409 Centennial. They would yell out their windows. Them and 1404 Centennial, and then what's the other one? 1410. I had to think about it. Yell out their windows, yell out their screen doors, make their threats, send people to follow me at playgrounds I played at while I'm picking my husband up from work, trying to sideswipe me. I still have the license plate numbers. I still have them. I would just pull into a gas station, tuck in behind a big tractor trailer, let them get up ahead of me and get their license plate number. This is where their drug trafficking and sex trafficking becomes modern day domestic terrorism. Because literally the legal definition of terrorism is the threat of violence. They do it all day long. They do it all day long. They're literally the reason that I got back into martial arts. I hadn't done it in years, and when I say years, I mean a decade or so. I hadn't did martial arts. Well, you can thank Icky. You can thank Icky. They did this so much to the point that I know their pattern. I know it like I know what chores I do which days. That's how much they've done this. So, since I know their pattern, I'm not letting them get away with it. See, I wrote the blueprint for McKeesport's police department, and I literally named it the blueprint to their bullshit. I know, that's good. And then here, I wrote the Wind Talker Code. That's good too. See, I know their patterns like I know what chores I'm going to do in a day. And since there's one of the side effects of cocaine, I looked it up last summer. I looked it up like shortly after we got here. I looked it up. I kept wondering, like, why am I hearing all these voices all the time? I can be in the yard working out, running my dog for a potty break. Maybe I was refilling my birdie feeder, and there's just voices constantly yelling, constantly yelling. Well, hold on, wait. I looked it up. One of the side effects of cocaine is paranoia. Well, they know that I watched them sex traffic Icky. I watched it all. And the dumbest thing I ever did was delete those pictures. After she died, I deleted those pictures. Like, oh, why do I need them? Yeah, well, I shouldn't have deleted them. I still need them. I never sent them to the cloud. That won't happen this time. That won't happen this time. See, they they weren't just sex trafficking Edie. She was literally like their puppet, their stool. She would do whatever it is. Let me try to use nice words. She would do whatever it is her sex traffickers told her to do. She would go down to Twin Rivers Elementary School, yelling on the phone and having her phone connected to Bluetooth in her vehicle, saying that I'm a prostitute. She would pull up in front of the house with a dude on the other line trying to act like it was my husband. Let me tell you something about my husband's building that he works in and he has for the last 18 years. There's a lot of metal in that building. Metal will interfere with a cell phone signal. On top of the fact you're at work and you can't really be on the phone, like he runs shipping and receiving there. He's been doing it for a long time. So chances are good in a day, even if I needed a gallon of milk, I send it in a text. I send it in a text. If something happens at school and I need to get a hold of my husband, I can call. But there is a good chance that he's loading a truck right now and he can't take that call. There's a real good chance he's loading a truck right now and he can't take that call. So they did all this when we were back in McKeesport. And I know their patterns of behavior, like I know which chores I'm going to do each day out of the week. They're all riled up and all in a frenzy and frazzled because they can't drug traffic and sex traffic. Their number one, like, enemy, deterrent, uh, is me. I'm a housewife. We're always home. We're always home. That is literally the definition of a housewife. We don't work. Now, the older ladies in this neighborhood may not know that, oh, they're sex traffickers and drug traffickers. Well, I know. Not only do I know each and every one of them. Each and every one of them. Some of them I've worked with, some of them I've had the unfortunate displeasure of growing up diagonally from on Converse Street. I know each and every one of them. Now, when we got here, I couldn't understand why, like, it was so loud here all the time. Like, this isn't the ghetto. This isn't the projects. Well, then I started recognizing the voices that I was hearing. Stupid talking monkeys. So, not only did I recognize all the voices because I've worked with some of them or grew up diagonally from them, then I told you I started seeing all the graffiti tags. Mona. Well, more with the poop plug, when we worked together, she would always have those big fat permanent markers, the big fat ones. And she said one of the things she liked to do on her way home when she was irritated was tag stuff. And I was like, don't you know, like, that's defacing public property and private property? And she's like, oh, well, it's graffiti, it's vandalism. You actually have to catch the person in the act. That's not true. That is not true. Newsflash, that is not true. You just have to know whose graffiti tag it is. More with the poop plug. So every time you see Mona, you see Skull, most of the graffiti tags around here, they're all done by her. You can tell by the spray paint handwriting. You can tell by the marker handwriting. Like I keep saying, they leave fingerprints and footprints on everything, whether it's digitally, graffiti tags, running up and down the street with their Bluetooth on, yelling stuff in phone conversations. They left such a Hansel and Gretel drug trafficking and sex trafficking trail. You would literally have to be Helen Keller not to see it. So it's become real easy. And now that, I have my own YouTube channel, well, I just might become the world's greatest criminal sleuth. This is why, like the veterans back in the day when Section 8 and HUD first started, this is why they would go to all those town hall meetings and, no, we don't want it in our neighborhood. We don't want that. Well, this is why. This is exactly why. Because they didn't want this malarkey, this bullshit, the drug trafficking, the sex trafficking going on in their neighborhood, bringing down their property values. Because they invested in a house for well over 20 years, 30 years, and that's the house they were going to have and be able to pass down to their kids. And their kids were going to be able to, raise their families in the house that they grew up in, so forth and so forth. They just do the dumbest stuff, and it is so easy to follow it all. You would literally have to be Helen Keller not to be able to follow it. And then the fact that WTAE has a lot of what I've previously said in their archives. When these ones go away, when they go to jail, they're going to be there for a long, long time. Like, a long, long time. Because they just keep racking up the charges, racking up the charges, racking up the charges. You can't, if you didn't want the world to know that you were drug traffickers and sex traffickers, the one thing you shouldn't have did, well, there's a couple things, but we'll start with one. You shouldn't sit by windows and hold conversations where the whole neighborhood can hear you. You shouldn't sit in a screened in porch yelling on your phone where the whole world can hear you. The whole neighborhood can hear you. We don't even have to be paying attention. I was literally on the phone before with my cousin, talking to her on my side porch, and they're yelling about cocaine and things like that. Like, this is why back in the day, you remember the old school mafia, Capone and all them. This is why a lot of them didn't have phones in their house, because the FBI could wiretap it. Well, the FBI doesn't even have to do that now. These stupid talking monkeys are beyond dumb. Dumb. They sit on their porches and the whole conversations about cocaine, the whole conversations about little prostitution parties, the whole conversation. What do they call it? Hold on. What was the term they used? I remember it. It's like a stripper gram, but it's a coke gram. They bring you cocaine and they're dressed like strippers, stripper gram, but it's cocaine. And then it evolves into prostitution. If you didn't want the world to know that's what you do for, I don't even want to call it a living, that was your piss poor life choice, you shouldn't be holding those conversations where the world can hear you. You shouldn't be doing it. It's funny. It's funny because literally all the police would have to do is just go sit up the road there on that W Street, Walton. Go sit up the road by the bend. Just sit there and listen with your windows down. They do this all day long. Same stuff they did in McGeesport. Same exact stuff. That's how you know that they're grasping at straws for power. See, the drug dealers and the sex traffickers and the drug traffickers, they don't control the streets anymore. Like, no one's afraid of you. And not only is no one afraid of you, we have technology now. Handy dandy computer in my hand. We have technology now. So if you try to roll up on someone and be all, banging my chest tough, snap pictures. Turn on video. Like, that's why they're losing their minds. They're going bonkers. Paranoia from cocaine. And they're grasping at straws, trying to get control back of the streets. I watched this whole thing happen in McKeesport. The whole thing. And I would just sit there and laugh, making a wreath, folding laundry, painting sun catchers. I watched the whole spiel. It's just beyond. They have, they're a lot, I don't even want to, yeah. They're beyond. We'll leave it at that, so I use nice words.